So this is a hard video for me to make. I thought back and forth about it a lot, and I try to always be lighthearted and make y'all laugh, but I feel like y'all want to know about me, and for that reason I just have to be honest. Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that my whole life I've never known who my dad is. It's been a struggle and it's been hard. Try not to get emotional. So I don't even know how long ago it was, but I got the Ancestry DNA kit for Christmas. And jokingly, I was like, ooh, maybe it'll help me find who my dad is. But I didn't think anything of it. And, you know, I did some of my family tree, not too much of it. You know, I found out some things on my mom's side only. Well, just the other day, I got this message. And it was from a girl. And she was saying that I was her first cousin. And so she messages me back and forth. And I'm looking at this connection, and you know, we kind of look alike, and I'm looking at like the DNA we share and the percentages, and according to Ancestry.com, it says that me and her are 99%, you know, there's a 99% chance that she is my cousin. I'm looking at the DNA matches, and it's my mom and my sister, and she's the third match, like, that shares the most DNA with me. So I'm like, oh my God, she must be whoever my dad is, right? So she starts asking me these questions, and then all of a sudden I tell her my family name, and she's like, oh yeah, you know, my uncle married someone in that family name. And so she says my uncle's name, because it's my uncle too, right? You know, as it comes up or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's my uncle's name too. And she's like, yeah, he married, you know, this person who's my aunt. And I'm like, oh wow, that's my aunt. Yeah, that's my uncle and my aunt. And so she's like, well, then I guess we're related. But I'm like, wait a minute. If you're from his side of the family, how is that? You can't be related to me, because he's only related through marriage, right? And she's like, well, you know, you came up testing higher than some of my other cousins, so we do share DNA. So I'm just like, wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that my uncle is my dad? And she put up the little emoji covering its eyes, and she was like, I think so. And she said, this is, you know, weird. And I was like, wait. I need to call my mom, because no, this just can't be possible, right? So I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, today this, that, and the third happened, okay? I need to know, like, if this is a possibility. And she was like, well, you know, yeah, you know, it's a possibility. And I was just like, oh my God, Mom, because my whole life I didn't know. And I was like, why did you tell me other men were my dad though? And we went and got paternity tests and stuff, and then they came out that they weren't. Like, I was going and visiting these men, you know? And she was like, I know I threw them under the bus, you know, but I kind of suspected all along, but, you know, I kept it a secret because, you know, I didn't want to ruin your aunt's family. You know, back then they were married, and I just didn't want to tarnish anyone's family name. And I just like, I'm sorry. Whew, I had to take a break. So, I don't even know where I left off, but I was just in shock because I was like, this whole time, like, you knew it was a possibility this whole time. And I've gone my whole life not knowing who my dad is. And all to keep this secret, you know? Like I was kept a secret. And I'm still shocked. And I mean, I kind of joked around with her because I didn't want to make her feel like more guilty, because she was like, well, you know, this is how it happened. So she starts to tell me the details. And she's like, well, I had a boyfriend, and your aunt was dating your uncle at the time. And your aunt decided to steal my boyfriend away from me. So they hooked up and got married and stuff. And she said, so I was left heartbroken and your uncle was left heartbroken. Well, he wasn't my uncle at the time. And so, you know, one thing led to another. We were drunk, whatever. And, you know, it happened. And according to my mother, it was kind of like a thing. Like they kind of were a thing, I guess. And according to my mom, you know, my aunt found out, and then she ended up leaving her husband and getting back with my uncle. And, you know, later on, you know, here I am, and my mom just thought, I guess she didn't want to ruin their family. And I when she told me this, I didn't want to believe her story. So I called up my cousin, who is my uncle's daughter. And I was like, hey, you know, I don't even know how to say this, so I'm just gonna say it. Like, I don't even know, but like, I possibly might be, you know, your sister, because according to this ancestry thing, like I share DNA with your side and your dad's side of the family. I mean, the only way that's possible is, you know, it's possibly him. And my mom is saying they were a thing, you know? And this is so awkward. I was like, this is so awkward. Like, this is so awkward. And my cousin was like, you never knew who your dad was? And I was like, no. My whole life, I never knew. And I was told, you know, it could be this guy or it could be that guy. But I never had an answer. And she was like, I'm gonna call him and ask him, because at least, the least you deserve, she said, is to know. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I don't know why I felt so guilty even bringing it up. So she called me like 10 minutes later or something. And she was like, hey, Vanessa, I talked to him and I was just straightforward, she said. And she said, I asked him, were you ever with my aunt, sexually? And he was like, well, yeah. And that just made it like so real. And I was like, my kids, I made sure my kids were listening because like, I just wanted like to know that I wasn't in like a twilight zone or something, and we were shocked. And I was just like, oh my God, like, whoa. And she asked him, would you be willing to take a paternity test? And he was like, well, I have to think about it, which I don't know if I'm taking it wrong, but I mean, I understand that he's shocked, but that hurt because I feel like I just want to know, and my biggest fear is rejection. And I know it's weird. And my cousin, according to this app, was very like understanding and so sweet and like accepting. And I'm just like worried and shocked and freaked out and a little bit in denial of like, this is even happening. The one thing that I've thought is, well, if everyone wants to keep me a secret, I don't blame them because I know it's weird. At the same time, I feel like, how is it my fault? I just hope, I mean, the way that I've been thinking about it is, I've never known my whole life. I've never known. So, and I've never had that side of my family because I've never known it. So I've been trying to psych myself out and tell myself like, it can only get better from here, because if worse come to worse, they don't reach out to you, they don't accept you, and you just continue living your life the way that you were, but at least you know. And the other thing that can happen is I have a family and they accept me. And that would be amazing. Things like this happen. I don't know if people really talk about it on YouTube, but I felt the need to talk about it. And if anybody's gone through anything similar, please like reach out to me and tell me like, how did you cope with it? What did you do? I mean, because I'm so lost. When it comes to sleeping with somebody, you might just think that it only affects you and that person. But sometimes in cases like this, it can affect more than one person. I'll keep y'all posted on what happens, because I don't even know what's gonna happen. I don't even know at this point. Thanks. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for listening, and thank you for like virtually being here for me, because it really does mean a lot, and y'all mean a lot to me. So thank you. And I'll see y'all next video.